So good afternoon, everyone. As you can see, I'm not Councillor Hannah Hockaday. Unfortunately, Councillor Hockaday is unable to chair the meeting today, and under delegated authority of the leader, as one of the other cabinet members, I've been put in the position to chair the meeting today. So I'm Councillor Ryan Brent, for those who don't know, and I'm the cabinet member for Children and Families. There is a little bit of housekeeping about the live web stream, but if I can just ask around the table, just so all officers and members can introduce themselves. We'll start on that side. Yes.
Hello, I'm Alison Edgerton. I'm a Group Accountant for Children's and Finance, and I'll be presenting the report on behalf of Deb Pennicutt.
Richard Webb, Finance Manager.
Graham Smith, Group Accountant, Financial Services.
Caroline Corcoran, Head of Sufficiency, Participation and Resources.
Yeah, Mike Stoneman, Deputy Director, Children, Families and Education, with responsibilities for the Education Service.
Councillor Susie Horton, a Shadow Spokesperson for Education for the Liberal Democrats.
Lisa Gallagher, Democratic Services.
Thank you very much. So I will just, twice in 1 week, but I'm going to read through this again. So for the housekeeping, so if the continuous fire alarm sounds, please evacuate the room and public gallery by the stairwells. Do not attempt to use the lifts. Please assemble at Queen Victoria's statue in front of the civic offices. In order to comply with the Portsmouth Cultural Trust fire marshal regulations, please remember to sign out when you leave the building after today's meeting. So as everyone knows, these are now live web streams. I've got my last paragraph to read before I start to hand over. So may I draw everyone's attention to the fact that the meeting will be live streamed/filmed from a camera at a fixed location at the back of the meeting room, and the recording will be on the council's website. Members of the public are also permitted to record the meeting on the understanding that it neither disrupts the meeting nor records those stating explicitly that they do not wish to be recorded. May I ask everyone that they use their microphones, but on our test run of going around, everyone is happy with where the button is, so we're good to go. Are there any apologies for absence? No apologies for absence, always good. Any declarations of interest? I feel I probably should declare a couple of interests. I am employed by Portsmouth College and I'm a governor on Milton Cross Academy and Milton Park Primary.
As in all meetings, I am a governor at Cranes Water Junior School.
Thank you very much. I will move on to agenda item number 3, which is the Education Budget Monitoring Report for the second quarter, and I will hand over to present the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The report in front of you is one of the regular quarterly reports which we produce for the financial position for portfolio. It reviews both the revenue and capital positions, together with projections and forecasts, as at the end of September, the end of the second quarter. At this time, as outlined in section 4 of the report, there's an anticipated overspend on the revenue budget of £86,000. This reflects the home to school transport costs, which continue to exceed the available budget, and they have been offset partially this year by additional income from traded services and savings on staffing budgets, generally arising from staff recruitment and turnover arrangements. Section 5 of the report briefly considers the position of the approved capital programme, as shown in the appendix to the report, where explanations on individual scheme variations are contained. Current projected forecasts suggest a relatively small underspend overall, although this is likely to be taken up as schemes progress. The report therefore recommends that the anticipated financial position for both revenue and capital is noted.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Nope. If there are no questions, and I should just reiterate to everyone and for all of those people that are watching that I have been well briefed by Councillor Hockaday and have been given all of the information on the decisions and the papers in front of us. I forgot to say at the beginning. Just again, for those who are watching, I will just go over the recommendation, which is that and I'm happy to do that the Cabinet member notes the education portfolio forecast revenue and capital budget positions as at the end of September 2017, together with the variance and pressure explanations. Thank you. So we're going to move on to item 4, which is the quarterly update on the school modernisation programme 17-18. And I'll hand over.
Thank you. That's my report. So this is the regular quarterly report. It's a complementary report to the budget monitoring report that Smith has just presented, updating on the progress of capital projects, specifically within the school modernisation programme 2017-18. The programme itself includes urgent condition projects and secondary school sufficiency projects. In terms of the school modernisation urgent condition projects, we had 10 projects in the scheme as at the last quarterly report. We now have, 11, and we've added in 2 additional condition surveys this time due to concerns about the brickwork in 2 of our schools, Wimborne Junior School and Penhale Infant School, where the brickwork needs to be checked at above eye level. Therefore, that means they'll be going out with a cherry picker and going up and being able to actually see what's going on with the brickwork. Clearly, we want to make sure that it's in a safe condition. In terms of the secondary sufficiency schemes, those 4 schemes have all gone through the feasibility stage and are the subject for capital bid funding in this round, and we are waiting to find out the outcome of that. The appendix to this report shows that all of the projects, both in the condition side and in the sufficiency side, are rated as green and on target as where we would expect them to be at this particular time. In terms of this report, it's submitted to note progress that we have made against the programme to date. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? No, I haven't got any questions myself, so I'll just again note the recommendation that it is recommended that the Cabinet member notes the progress on the school modernisation, quotes urgent condition project and the secondary school sufficiency projects as set out in the report in Appendix A, and I'm happy to note them and keep the recommendations as they are. So on to item number 5, which is the school funding arrangements. Yep. So I'll hand over.
Thank you. This report is brought to Cabinet Member to update you on the progress being made towards the implementation of the changes to the school revenue funding arrangements for 18-19 financial year, and to seek necessary approvals at this particular stage of the process. The recommendations within the report have been taken to Schools Forum last week, the 21st of November, and there is a mixture of recommendations that are going to be taken forward to Schools Forum on the 13th of December next week. The items that were taken to Schools Forum last week were all approved. So I can just talk you through the items for approval. The report seeks for approval for the proposed changes to the mainstream funding formula factors as informed by consultation with schools and outlined in section 6 of the report, specifically to remove the looked after children funding factor, to retain the reception uplift factor for primary and infant schools, to calculate the initial funding allocations for 18-19 based on the proposed unit values shown in the table in paragraph 6.16. It's also looking to limit the proposed factors where any financial value could be adjusted to maintain the overall affordability of the funding formula to the 5 factors listed of basic per pupil entitlement, the prior attainment factor, the lump sum, the percentage of the financial cap, and also the primary free school meal factor. It requests the Cabinet member to note the authority is not proposing to make any changes to the high needs place numbers for special schools, resourced units and alternative provisions settings for 2018-19. And at the moment we're not proposing to make any changes to the early years rates for 18-19. It also asks the Cabinet member to note the MFG disapplication requests is set out in paragraph 10.2. These were endorsed by Schools Forum and submitted to the DFE on the 30th of November this year. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. Have you got any questions, Councillor Horton? No? Okay. Just a quick question. I think it's good that we've done lots of consultation, but based on any of the consultation, is there anything in the recommendations that people will potentially feel like we didn't listen to, or if we didn't, is there a reason?
We had quite a high percentage of schools come back and say that they were happy with the proposals. Those schools that did have some questions, we have gone back to those schools and answered the questions. Most of the queries were to do with the schools' actual understanding of how the funding formula worked, and some were very specific to individual schools where they had specific queries regarding their particular funding, and we've gone back and explained that to them.
Thank you very much. It was just on my mind yesterday. I was at the Children's Trust Board, and one of the reps on the Parent Carer Board said that they give a lot of feedback, and we consult all of the time, but it's just making sure that the feedback that they give and the time that they give that we receive, and we inform our decisions based on that. So that's the only reason that question came up. I'm not going to read through all the recommendations because there are lots of them, but as the agenda paper is written, I'm happy with all of the recommendations that are there, and as the Cabinet Member to approve all of them and note them. So moving on to item number 6 is the Dedicated Schools Grant second quarter budget monitoring, and I'll hand over again.
Thank you. This is a regular quarterly report that is brought to Cabinet members seeking to update them on the forecast budget position of the Dedicated Schools Grant as at the end of the second quarter, September 2017. The report sets out the reasons for any variances within the budget in section 4. However, it should be noted that the budget is forecast to have a zero impact because the income and the expenditure actually match themselves, and it's reflecting where we would expect to be at this particular time of the year.
Open up once more for any questions. Again, I haven't got any questions myself, so I believe, unless I've put those papers in the wrong order, which I have, so it would have been the second, so penultimate time. So I'm happy again to recommend, to take on all of the recommendations, to note the forecast year-end budget position and approve the necessary adjustments to the Dedicated Schools Grant. So, number 7.
Thank you. This paper is around starting a statutory process to consult on a change of age range for Penhale Infant School and Nursery from 3 to 7-year-old pupils to 2 to 7-year-old pupils. This change of age range would enable those who qualify, for families that qualify for specific nursery provision, to take advantage of the national 15-hour free childcare entitlement for those 2-year-olds. To make this change, there's a requirement to follow a statutory process under the regulations for prescribed alterations to maintained schools, and we're seeking permission to undertake a public consultation on this proposal. The outcome of the consultation will be brought back to the March 2018 meeting for further consideration.
This wasn't the last time. Any questions? No? I think this, from what I've read, seems like a really good example of where the local authority are listening to governors and schools around the city, and it's just one of the good examples that we have got. And on that nice note, I will finish with saying that I'm happy to take on the recommendations and authorise the Director of Children, Families and Education to proceed to the representation stage of the statutory process. And because that is it, I will draw the meeting to a close. Thank you very much, everyone. And can I, just before I should have done that, thank all of the officers for their hard work and the reports, and especially all of the finance commitment and their team that have put all of their hard work in. So thank you very much.